Listen now, and let the sounds of the woods and the slow cadence of this tale ease you down into sleep. Imagine, if you will, a wide river, soft and slow, curling like a ribbon through a land of green and shadow. On the banks of this river, there is a little station, a cluster of log cabins and low fences, and beyond it, the forest rises deep, ancient, and full of secrets. In that forest, many things happen. Friends meet, old grudges stir, strange stories whisper among the trees, and by, as night falls, one more story finds its way to you. Tonight's story is gentle and steady, with an undercurrent of mystery, but it is told with a calm voice to help you relax. It begins in a moonlit glade where deer move like drifting shadows, and where one figure stands alone, listening to the silver hush of the night. From this quiet moment, we will travel slowly, kindly, through the meeting of two travelers on a river trail, the rescue of a young woman in danger, the strange mark they find upon a tree, and the secret of a being of legend known as the wolf demon. Breathe in, breathe out. Let each sentence be a step, measured and slow. Picture the river and the glade. Picture the rounded moon above, pouring soft light like milk over the high branches. The air is cool and still. In that hush, a deer is startled. There is a rush of movement, and two rifles crack, all sharp and brief against the hush. Two men come toward a fallen buck, a young pathfinder with a scar along one side of his face, and another, older and more seasoned, whose hands and eyes show a lifetime in the greenwood. They speak pleasant, neighborly words in the hush, and they share the simple, honest business of hunters. Who fired first? Who found the animal? They exchange names. Abe Lark carved his mark on the tree. Daniel Boone offers hospitality. And there is comfort in shaking hands by a fallen buck. The forest keeps its own counsel, but news travels. The Shawnee, the Wyandots, a stirring of clans, and the men feel it in the low angles of the air. The talk becomes grave. War may be near. The moon hangs in the sky, and a ring gathers around it. But for now, the laughter is soft, and the wood smells of sap and grass. Let the steady cadence of these things settle your shoulders. Let small worries uncoil like vines and fall away. Now the scene shifts gently across the valley to a wider clearing where a young woman banks her basket of blackberries. She is Virginia, a kind and lively daughter of the station. In a moment, she nearly walks into danger. A bear, burly and sudden, lifting itself from a feast of berries to fix upon her. Her cry is a bright, sharp sound, the kind that spins help nearer. From the shadowed trail comes a young traveler, Harvey Winthrop, quick to act, brave and steady. He leaps to protect her, but when the bear charges, surprise comes in the form of a rifle crack. A bullet finding its heart, the bear falls. The savior is not the man whose arm and knife are steady in the face of danger, nor the young hunter who steadied himself to meet the Bruin, but a different figure steps forward. A girl, wild but sure. She moves with an ease of someone born under open skies. Her name is Kanawha Kate, part of the wood and part of a mystery. She offers no stories, only gentle modesty. and she disappears beneath the trees, leaving gratitude and an invitation to new friendship. Let your breathing match the slow motion of the story. Each paragraph a soft step, each sentence a settling of the wood floor beneath you. The narrator's voice is low as ground moss, warm as the glow from a cooking fire. At the station, a stranger named Harvey rests in the home of Virginia's father. He is quiet, thoughtful, and they speak of bowshots and of the tread of the forest. Into that quiet slips a man named Clement Murdoch, earnest, intent, and a little smoldering with jealousy. He loves Virginia, but his love is a heavy thing. When she refuses him, his anger sits in the room like a stone. He mutters of schemes and looks where long hatreds often begin, at the edge of affection and at the pull of inheritance. Listen to the slow thump of a clock and the faint click of a hearthstone. There are darker thoughts in the mind of a man who believes the world owes him what he desires. Beyond the stockade, in the Shawnee village at the bend of the river, another mood settles. The leaders of the tribe, the great chief Kanawha, and others, stand with faces solemn and voices low. They lift up the memory of a warrior named Little Crow, whose life was taken suddenly in the night, marked by a mysterious totem. 3 small cuts on the breast, arranged like an arrow, stamped in blood. It is a sign the tribe recognizes with the weight of memory. It stirs a story older and stranger. The wolf demon, an apparition spoken of in fear and reverence, a creature part wolf, part human tall, walking upright, bearing in its paw the weapon of men. The villagers who have seen it tell of a face painted black and white, of strength beyond any mortal, and of a red arrow left on each man it has struck. Share a breath. Feel the slow rolling of the river itself in your chest, gentle, continuous. Let curiosity drift like a feather on the air. Back in the ravine where the berries grew, the plot thickens gently like fog. People speak of war, of the way savages and settlers have both been wronged and fearful. But a tender scene takes place instead. Virginia and Harvey walk beside the channel of the Kanawha. They are so absorbed in each other that everything else fades. Words are careful and warm. They speak of simple things, and then of the future, and then their hands find each other. There is a sudden soft confession. Harvey's voice is steady, earnest, and Virginia's eyes answer him. The world narrows briefly to the two of them beneath the high trees. Their first kiss is a slow, bright thing. Then suddenly, as if fate were a breath that can turn this sweet air to chill, a rifle cracks. Harvey falls. The moment twists, the wordless space becomes alarm. 2 painted warriors leap out of the wood and seize Virginia. Her eyes go blank, and she is blindfolded. She is taken. The forest swallows the sounds. The lover's meadow becomes a stage for fear. Breathe in, breathe out, keep the breath slow. Picture soft moss underfoot, a steady log fire flickering in some distant cabin. The story turns now to the one who will sweep through the dark to find and to do what is right. Into the story comes the figure of Kanawha Kate again, who finds Harvey in a heap of bruises and panic. She carries him to her cabin and binds his wound with leaves and careful hands. Here, in this small home, Harvey wakes. He cannot recall everything, only that he was struck down without warning. He says the name Virginia, his dear Virginia, and Kate's face, which had held something like longing, shifts at the word. Yet Kate will help them both. There is sweetness in this, gratitude between strangers, and a plain, unadorned kindness that is able to hold the world together for a little while. At the same time, two low-voiced men with darker plans, Clement Murdoch and a stranger who calls himself James Benton, meet in a cabin. They speak in tones like cracked leaves. Their plot is one of greed and hollow calculation. It is quieter than the howls of the forest, but more dangerous. A scheme that will snip threads without the mercy of a fox. They conspire to abduct Virginia, to carry her away as a ruse to force her father's hand, or worse. Hear these whispers, and then release them like pebbles that fall into a deep, dark well. They are small sounds, and yet, in the quiet, they echo long. Let them pass. Do not carry the weight of that conversation. Let each dark syllable settle into the earth and be covered with leaves. You remain here in the warmth with us. Your breathing is even like water around a stone. The night sky is wide and high. The moon is still a round, calm mirror. The trees keep a patient watch. The story moves on, gentle but unhurried. Out under the stars, Daniel Boone and two scouts, Kenton and Abe Lark, go into the forest to learn what may be stirring in the Shawnee camps. They hide in the hollow of a great oak, hushed, patient, listening. The forest is like a held breath. Later, two figures step from the shadows. One is dark and wrapped in a great blanket. Another moment, the scout lies bound, then is freed. The unknown being uses hands like a wolf's paw to loosen his bonds. It is Abe Lark who acts in those furtive, half-spoken minutes. But there is also the sight of a tremendous wolf upright, with a human face, crossing the glade in the moonlight, holding a tomahawk. This being is a thing of old stories and new shivers in the heart, and yet it helps as strangely as it harms. Let your chest soften. Even strange and fearful things in stories can help us feel small and quietly safe, cocooned in the glow of this tale. Slowly, almost unnoticed, the wolf demon moves. It walks faintly like a dream. It crosses paths with hunters and chiefs and leaves the totem, the 3 cuts shaped like an arrow, on the chest of those it claims. That mark is a signature that brings the tribe sorrow and anger, and at the same time, it draws curiosity from the settlers and the scouts. Daniel Boone, who has always known how to read a trail, shows no panic. He understands the way of things, that life can change in a minute, and that sometimes a strange path must be followed. Out beyond the village, a theater of human emotions unfolds. Trevelyan, the father of Virginia, one day meets a stranger in the wood who speaks to him in an odd, patient voice. The stranger tells him of old wrongs and old marks, punishments that have the slow, grinding quality of a river stone polishing over time. He speaks of a renegade, one who has been beaten and shamed, who turned away and found sisterhood with other people, and who has become a bitter man with a dangerous plan. The father's heart feels heavy. It is a slow-turning grief, as if a gentle sorrow had become stone, and time cannot undo it. Let this heaviness ease. Remind yourself that the way the story bends now is toward shelter and rescue. The night is not only for shadows. There are hands that reach with kindness in them, too. Softly, the wolves of the wood sometimes bring danger, but often the people of the valley bring courage. The return to the station is not just footsteps. It is a steady making of plans. Men gather their courage, speak quietly, prepare to watch, and they keep their friends safe with secrecy and bright fires. The old general, who has a heart like a well-worn map, knows sorrow and feels it now. He learns that 2 of his daughters, both cherished once, are lost to him. There is a moment where he bows his head, an old soldier feeling an ache that only fathers can know. But the story moves on. The searchers cross the river. The forest gives up its secrets slowly. Men move with the quiet determination of people who live among tall trees. The wolf demon, for all its mystery, is not an unstoppable fate. There are counsels and charms, and old medicine men of the tribe who call the spirit world into conversation. Here, Kanawha goes to seek the counsel of an aged medicine man. The old man tells of the red arrow and of the strange soul that clung to that tale, of love lost, of a lodge set aflame, of a white man taken by fire, and of the wolf that dragged the wounded form away. The story, told low and grave by the fireside in the wigwam, lights a chill under the ribs. It is both tender and terrible, a love that turned to vengeance and shaped itself into an avenging creature. The village prepares. The Shawnees don their paint and gather their strength. Men discuss the wolf demon as they might discuss weather or harvest. Then, in the depth of the night, the wolf demon reappears to someone who dares stand for the tribe. There is a fight, and the wolf demon moves with the speed of a wind-lashed thing, yet it is also wounded. Feel the soft rhythm of your breathing as the tale takes this darker turn, like a storm on the horizon that will pass. Watch the story instead as if it were a lake at dusk. Something moves beneath the surface, yet the surface keeps its calm. In the morning, the wood yields up its truth. Lark is found senseless, then staggeringly alive, then bound to a tree by his friends. He shudders, and then breaks free with unheard-of strength. The men watch him with both fear and pity. He is a man whose mind is a shifting tide, one moment stunned, the next savage in his power. Yet later, they will gently find that Lark's last, strange actions led to the end of the wolf demon itself. If there is a lesson in his odd fits, it is that people are complicated grief and kindness, strength and madness, woven in a single human thread, and soon all the pieces close together. The wolf demon, roaming the village and the forest, returns to the hollow oak. It makes a final, quiet step beneath the moonlight. Boone and Kenton are there, watching full of attention like a taut bowstring. The wolf demon falls. It is not some terrible monster of fantasy in the end, but a man who is pale and exhausted. The mask is taken away. He is found to be Abe Lark, the same hunter who carved his name on the oak, and whose life has been a record of strange wounds and a troubled mind. He speaks with breath like wind through leaves. In his last hour, he tells how grief and madness braided together, how a soul, wounded and burning with vengeance, believed itself turned into a wolf. This is the hinge of the tale. The strange and the tender meet. Those who sought to harm find their plans foiled by the steadiness of other hearts. Dark schemes and jealousies, like the plots of Murdoch, and the cruelties of the renegade Gertie, fold into the greater motion of compassion. Kate's kindness, the scout's vigilance, the general's enduring love. In the end, the wolf demon's work comes to a quiet close. There is a tiny grave dug beneath the oak where leaves will fall and sprawl like a lullaby. The village returns to its war councils, but the worst of the danger is softened. Kanawha finds his strength again, not by blood, but by looking to the future, by giving his daughter in marriage, because she has found a brave, loving heart, and by the gentle movement of time. Virginia and Harvey find one another again in a small cabin on the bank, a tender, joyful reunion. Take a long, shallow breath now, as if you were stepping into warm sun after a quiet, long storm. Let the feeling of reunion settle where the story has pulled it. Two hearts pressed together, steady and safe. Kanawha Kate, who carried a complicated heart and bore a name tied to the wild, stays at the edge, strong and quiet, loving in silence, but doing all she can to care for those she helped. A good soul who keeps her courage folded like a shawl around her. Slowly, gently, the end of the tale draws close. Gertie and his cohort are managed by cunning, and a totem whose meaning is made clear in a last exchange. The renegade's foolishness and anger bring about his undoing. The past's wound is named. Confessions are opened like flowers at last. One by one, the lives touched by violence and by sorrow find, if not full peace, then rest in the righting of wrongs. The wolf demon is laid to rest under the oak, and the noise of plans for war settles into planning for safety. The final image is soft and kind. Lovers married, friends gathered, a station on a river back to the ordinary rhythms of wood smoke, meals, and good neighbors. As the story folds into its last measures, picture again that river, broad and patient. The moon circles on through the night sky as if on a clock of silver. There will always be mysteries in the forest, things that disturb the easy sleep of a bright morning, but there are also hands that rescue, and neighbors who stand together. And most of all, the world is full of simple acts of kindness, binding a wound, carrying a fragile form through the dark, sharing a blanket, offering a steady phrase to soothe a frightened heart. Now imagine the cabin door closes softly. The embers in the hearth glimmer like a pair of soft eyes that watch and then doze. Break your breath into a steady rhythm, and match it to the river's slow sweep. Picture the oak where tales were made and graves were dug, its leaves whispering old lullabies. The wolf demon's grave is small, neat, and sunlight will find it in the morning when the day breaks. The women will sweep, the men will mend, the children will run like bright lights in the clearing. The world keeps turning, steady and calm. Listen now, the forest holds its breath. The river passes, the flame lowers in the hearth. The tired, bright meeting of the lovers, the brave care of a wild child, the stitched wound in a stranger's side, these things are folded into the soft pocket of the night. Let your eyelids fold too. The sound of my voice is a steady boat, and you may drift on it. The day's troubles float away like leaves. There is nowhere else you must be. You are safe here in the quiet. Let the softness of the final scene take you. Breathe, inhale gently, and breathe out slowly. Feel the slow hush of the trees and the rivers whisper in your chest. Imagine the last line of the story gently written in the dark. Lives mended, wounds healed by steady hands, mysteries laid down, and sleep like a blanket. When you are ready, let your eyes close and carry this warmth and calm into your rest. The woods are patient. The moon is a quiet watch. The stories we carry are bridges of memory and hope. And tonight this one has settled softly in your heart. Sleep now and let the river's slow breath cradle you until morning.